No, Mom. I don't want to hear about any dates. I've told you 1,000 times. Ethan Davenport paces nervously through the living room of the estate, gripping the phone tightly. At 36, he's tired of his mother's persistence. Look, I don't need any woman in my life. I have more important things to deal with. His mother keeps talking on the other end of the line. Ethan runs a hand through his hair and sighs. You don't understand. My son needs me. He needs all of my attention. Ethan glances toward the stairs leading to Leo's room. The 6-year-old boy is up there, in his wheelchair, probably staring out the window without any interest in anything. For months, Leo has barely reacted to anything. Listen, Mom. I'm tired of repeating this. I don't want to meet anyone, period. Ethan hangs up and tosses the phone onto the sofa. He sits down heavily and puts his face in his hands. 3 years. 3 years since his wife died in that car accident. 3 years raising Leo alone. The boy has always had cerebral palsy due to an injury that happened when he was little. But after his mother died, he became even more withdrawn. Mr. Davenport. The soft voice makes him lift his head. Dr. Genevieve Reed is standing in the doorway. At 32, the physical therapist is always impeccably dressed, with a white coat and her hair tied back. She has been working with Leo for 2 years, ever since the previous therapist moved to another state. Hi, Genevieve. How was the session today? Genevieve shakes her head slowly, a worried expression on her face. Look, I'll be honest with you, sir. Leo is quite down today. His palsy mainly affects his legs and motor coordination, but his emotional state also greatly influences his progress. Ethan stands up and walks over to her. But he will get better, right? I mean, will he ever be able to be more independent? Mr. Davenport's cerebral palsy is a permanent condition. We work to improve his quality of life, to develop the abilities he has, but it's a long, time-consuming process. Genevieve speaks in a professional tone. Ethan notices that she's always technical, but sometimes seems too distant. All right. Continue with the work, then. Will do. We'll continue with the exercises tomorrow. Oh, and Mr. Davenport, it's important to keep his routine well controlled. Sudden changes can hinder his development. Genevieve picks up her bag and heads for the door. Ethan is left alone in the room, looking at the stairs again. He decides to go up to see his son. Leo is in his wheelchair, positioned near the bedroom window. He can move his arms and torso, but has difficulty with balance and coordination. Hey, champ, how are you doing? The boy turns his head slowly. His eyes look tired, lacking the sparkle that children usually have. He can speak, but he says very little. Hi, Dad. His voice comes out quiet, a bit slurred. How about we go down for dinner? Leo shakes his head no. I want to stay here. Ethan leans down and kisses his son's forehead. Leo goes back to looking out the window, as if searching for something interesting outside. Suddenly, something catches the boy's attention. His eyes move and he leans forward slightly, showing curiosity for the first time all day. Ethan follows his son's gaze and sees a woman in the backyard. She's hanging clothes on the line, humming a song softly. When she notices she's being watched from above, she stops what she's doing and waves. To Ethan's surprise, Leo slowly raises his hand and tries to wave back. Wow! Ethan runs down the stairs, crosses the kitchen, and goes straight to the backyard. The woman is startled when he appears, slightly out of breath. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I didn't know you were watching. She looks to be about 27, with brown hair tied back in a simple ponytail, wearing humble but clean clothes. She is clearly embarrassed. No, please, don't apologize. Ethan is trying to catch his breath. Are you the new employee? Yes, I am, sir. My name is Maya Garcia. Martha hired me yesterday as a housekeeper. Ethan remembers the head housekeeper saying she was going to hire someone to help with the cleaning. Maya. Listen, Maya. What you did just now, waving to my son. Maya looks even more frightened. Oh, sir, I'm so sorry. I just saw the little boy in the window and he looked a bit sad. I didn't mean to be intrusive. You weren't being intrusive. Quite the opposite. Ethan looks up at the bedroom window. Leo is still watching them, now with more focus. My son has cerebral palsy. It happened when he was very young. Since then, he hasn't shown much interest in things. Maya looks at the window fondly. The poor kid. But he's very handsome. Do you have experience with special needs children? Maya hesitates for a moment. Yes, I do, sir. I took care of my cousin for many years. Petey has Down syndrome. I learned a lot from him. Ethan feels something he hasn't felt in a long time, a glimmer of hope. Maya, I know you were hired to work in the house, but would it be a problem for you to say hi to Leo when you pass by? He seems to like you. Of course, sir. It would be a pleasure. You can just call me Ethan. Okay, Mr. Davenport. They smile at each other. Ethan looks at the window again and sees Leo still watching. Look at that. He's still paying attention. Maya waves up again, making a funny face. Leo cracks something that looks like a smile. Hi, Leo. I'm Maya. The boy doesn't answer, but he keeps looking. For Ethan, this is already progress. Maya, thank you so much. You have no idea what this means. Don't mention it, Mr. Davenport. Children are the most special thing in the world. We have to treat them with all the love we have. Ethan watches Maya go back to work. There's something different about her, a genuine simplicity he doesn't find in the people from his social circle. When he goes back up to the room, Leo is in a different position in his chair, trying to get a better view of the garden. Did you like the lady, champ? Leo looks at his father and whispers, She's nice. In the following days, a little routine begins to form. Maya works downstairs in the morning, and Leo stays positioned at the window, watching. She always waves and does something silly when she notices he's looking. A week later, Ethan is in his office when he hears a conversation coming from the garden. He goes to the window and sees Maya talking to Leo, who is on his room's balcony in his wheelchair. And then the little bird said, I can't fly today because I forgot my wings at home. Leo lets out a quiet laugh. Ethan gets emotional. It's been a long time since he's heard his son laugh. He goes up to the room. Hey, champ, are you having fun? The lady is telling a funny story. Leo's words come out clearer than they have in a long time. Ethan approaches the balcony. Hi, Maya, how are you? Hi, Mr. Davenport, I'm good. I was just here talking with Leo. I see you two are having fun. Yeah, he likes the silly little stories I make up. Ethan is thoughtful for a moment. Maya, can I ask you something? How did you learn to work with special needs children? Maya stops folding the laundry and looks up. Well, I don't know if I learned the right way, but my cousin Petey was always very withdrawn when he was little. My aunt was worried because he barely spoke. She sits on a garden chair to continue the conversation. So I started spending my afternoons with him. At first, I didn't know what to do. So I started making up little stories, singing silly songs, just being a clown. And it worked. Little by little, he started to open up. Today, Petey is 15, and he's a super affectionate person. He has his limitations, of course, but he's happy. Leo listens to the conversation, interested. Can you tell more stories? Maya smiles at him. Of course. What kind of stories do you like? About animals. Then I'll make up an animal story just for you. Ethan observes the natural way Maya talks to Leo. There's no pity or exaggeration in her voice, just genuine affection. Mr. Davenport, if it's not a bother, could I spend a little time talking with Leo during my break? A bother? Of course not. Quite the opposite. At that moment, Genevieve appears on the balcony. She has been watching the conversation for a few minutes, unnoticed. Good afternoon. Everyone turns. The mood becomes a little tense. Hi, Genevieve. How are you? Fine. I'm here for Leo's session. Genevieve looks at Maya with a certain coldness. Are you the new employee? Yes, I am. Maya Garcia. Dr. Genevieve Reed, Leo's physical therapist. The two greet each other politely, but Ethan senses tension in the air. Mr. Davenport, may I speak with you for a moment in private? They step aside. Genevieve speaks in a low voice. Look, I don't mean to overstep, but I think it's important to keep Leo's routine well structured. Too much social stimulation can be confusing for him. But Genevieve, look how well he's reacting. He's even laughing. Yes, I saw that. I just think we need to be careful. Children with cerebral palsy need the right kind of stimulation at the right time. Ethan is a little hesitant. Genevieve is the professional. She must know what she's talking about. Okay, but it's not a problem if she talks to him a little, right? Of course not. I just think we need to monitor it. Genevieve walks back over to Maya and Leo. All right, now let's do our exercises, Leo. Can I finish listening to the story? We'll continue later, okay? Right now, it's time for physical therapy. Maya stands up immediately. Of course, Doctor. I'll get back to work. Bye, Maya. Thanks for the stories. Bye, Leo. I'll tell you more tomorrow. As Maya walks away, Dr. Reed watches Leo's reaction. The boy is clearly disappointed, losing some of the excitement he had just moments before. Later, when Dr. Reed finishes the session, she stops by the kitchen where Maya is working. Maya, can I offer a suggestion? Of course, Doctor. I think it's nice that you talk to Leo, but it would be better not to make promises like, I'll tell you more stories tomorrow. Special needs children can form very strong expectations. Oh, okay. I hadn't thought of that. It's just a friendly tip. You seem like a nice person. Dr. Reed leaves the kitchen with a smile. When she gets to her car, she takes out her phone and makes a call. Hi. Yeah, she's here. A new employee. I don't know yet, but she's getting a lot of the boys' attention. I'm going to keep an eye on her. 3 weeks passed. Despite Dr. Reed's concerns, the friendship between Maya and Leo continued to grow. Every day she spent time talking with him, always in the garden or on the porch, always where everyone could see. Ethan is in his office when he hears cheerful voices coming from the porch. He decides to go see what's happening. And then the little bunny said, where did I put my carrot? Leo is laughing softly. He seems sharper, more present. I think he forgot it in his pocket. That's right. You're so smart, Leo. Ethan watches from the doorway. He hadn't seen his son this animated in 3 weeks. Maya, do you know more stories? I know a ton. Do you want me to sing a song too? I do. Maya begins to softly sing a nursery rhyme. Leo tries to follow along, babbling a few words. Very good. You have a beautiful voice. Ethan approaches. Hey, you two, can I join the party? Dad, Maya was singing with me. The excitement in Leo's voice makes Ethan emotional. I see you two are having fun. Mr. Davenport, he's very sharp. He remembers all the stories I tell him. It's true. He's been more talkative too. At that moment, Dr. Reed appears at the bedroom door. She observes the scene intently. Good afternoon, everyone. Leo's excitement fades a little when he sees Dr. Reed. Hi, Dr. Reed. Leo, you weren't this talkative during our session. There's an accusatory tone in her voice. Ethan furrows his brow. Genevieve, don't you think this is a good thing? He's being more communicative. Of course it's good. I'm just observing that he reacts differently to different people. Dr. Reed looks at Maya. It's interesting how special needs children sometimes connect better with simpler people. The comment is odd. Maya feels awkward. Doctor, I don't want to get in the way of your work. No, you're not in the way. It's just a professional observation. Ethan doesn't like Dr. Reed's tone. Well, I'll let you two get to work then. When Maya leaves, Dr. Reed approaches Ethan. Mr. Davenport, may I suggest something? I think it would be a good idea for us to document these reactions from Leo to better understand what stimulates him. Document them how? Observe, take notes, see at what moments he's most responsive, who he talks to the most. Dr. Reed takes a clipboard from her bag. For example, today he spoke a lot with the employee, but with me he's quieter. It could be that he associates our sessions with exercise, so he's less at ease. Ethan finds the explanation reasonable. That makes sense. It's important for us to understand these patterns to optimize his development. While they talk, Leo watches from the window, looking for Maya in the garden. Later, Dr. Reed finishes the session and leaves. When she's in her car, she makes another call. Yeah, she's getting too close to the boy. No, the father hasn't noticed anything yet. But I need to act soon. He's getting too attached to her. 2 weeks later, the household routine had changed completely. Leo woke up every Maya is pale, clearly in shock. Mr. Davenport, I swear I don't know. I've never taken anything that wasn't mine. I came in here to look for a book I forgot yesterday and found the watch under the mattress, Dr. Reed says with indignation. Why were you looking for a book in Maya's room? Ethan asks, finding the situation strange. Oh, I left my exercise book in here yesterday when I came to get some papers you asked for. I remembered this morning. The explanation is a bit muddled, but Ethan is focused on the watch. Maya, this watch is very important to me. It was a gift from my wife. I know, Mr. Davenport. That's exactly why I would never touch something like that. Someone planted this watch here. But who would do that? And why? Maya glances at Dr. Reed, but doesn't have the courage to make a direct accusation. I don't know, Mr. Davenport. I just know I didn't take it. Dr. Reed interjects. Look, I understand it's hard to accept, but unfortunately, this happens sometimes. The temptation can be great. Doctor, are you calling me a thief? I'm not calling anyone anything. I'm just saying the watch was there. Ethan is torn. He sees his son's obvious progress with Maya, but he can't ignore the watch in her room. Wait a minute, Doctor. Reed, are you sure the watch was under the mattress? Absolutely certain. And Maya, are you sure you didn't take it? Absolutely, Mr. Davenport. I swear on my mother's life. Ethan looks into Maya's eyes. There's sincerity there, genuine desperation. Look, here's what we'll do. I'll put the watch away and we won't speak of this again. But Maya, if anything like this happens again, it won't happen, Mr. Davenport, because I didn't do anything wrong. Doctor, Reed doesn't look pleased with the decision. Mr. Davenport, are you sure? I think it's risky. Dr. Reed, I'm in charge of my own house. There's a firmness in Ethan's voice. Dr. Reed forces a smile. Of course, you know what's best. Maya leaves the room, relieved but worried. As she walks down the hall, Leo appears at his bedroom door. Maya, were you fighting? No, Leo. Just a misunderstanding. Everything's fine. Are you leaving? No, I'm not. I'm staying here. The boy smiles and goes back into his room. Maya continues downstairs, but she's clearly shaken. Ethan walks Dr. Reed to her car. Genevieve, are you absolutely sure about the watch? I am, Mr. Davenport. I saw it with my own 2 eyes. It's just, I don't know, it seems strange. Maya doesn't seem the type. Look, I don't want to speak ill of anyone, but sometimes people do things you don't expect. Dr. Reed gets in the car. Just be careful, for your sake and for Leo's. As Dr. Reed drives away, she stops at a gas station a few blocks later and makes a call. It didn't work. He believed her. No, he doesn't suspect me. But I've planted the seed of doubt. Next time will be different. Dr. Reed hangs up the phone and smiles coldly. You don't know who you're messing with, Maya Garcia, but you're about to find out. Meanwhile, at the estate, Leo is at the window looking for Maya. When he sees her in the garden, he taps on the glass to get her attention. Maya, come here. She waves and walks over to the porch. Hi, Leo. Are you sad? Maya forces a smile. No, I'm not. Why do you think that? You seem different. The boy's sensitivity surprises Maya. Sometimes things happen that make us worried, but it passes. My daddy says that when we're worried, we should talk to someone we like. Your daddy is very wise. I like you, Maya. Leo's simplicity and sincerity move Maya. I like you a lot too, Leo. So you can talk to me when you're worried. Maya smiles genuinely for the first time since the incident with the watch. Thank you. You're a very special boy. Ethan watches the scene from his office window. Something about the watch story doesn't add up. Maya shows genuine affection for his son. She doesn't seem like an opportunist. But Dr. Reed is a respected professional. She's been working with them for 2 years. Why would she lie? Ethan decides he needs to keep a closer eye on things around the house. Something strange is going on, and he needs to find out what it is before it affects his son. A week had passed since the watch incident. Genevieve watched from a distance as the relationship between Maya and Leo continued to strengthen, despite the tension in the air. That Tuesday morning, Ethan was in his office when the phone rang. Hello, Mr. Ethan Davenport? This is the State Physical Therapy Board. We need to schedule a visit to your residence. The man's formal tone put Ethan on alert. A visit? What for? Sir, we've received a complaint about the unlicensed practice of physical therapy at your residence. It's a serious matter that requires investigation. What kind of complaint? One of your employees is allegedly applying physical therapy techniques without the proper qualifications. Can we come by tomorrow morning? Ethan's blood ran cold. It could only be about Maya. Who made this complaint? That's confidential, sir, but we need to verify the situation. All right, you can come. After hanging up, Ethan stood still, trying to process the information. Who would have reported Maya, and why? He went up to Leo's room. The boy was playing with some stacking toys that Maya had brought for him. Hey, champ, how you doing? Hi, Dad. Look, Leo proudly showed how he could fit the pieces together. His motor coordination was visibly better. Very good. Who taught you that? Maya. She said I'm very smart. Ethan watched his son. How could anyone say this was harmful? At that very moment, elsewhere in the city, Genevieve was leaving an office building. She had gone there 3 days earlier to file the complaint, and now she was pleased with the result. They're finally going to investigate that meddling employee, she muttered to herself. Genevieve knew she had to be careful. She couldn't seem too involved in the process. So, when she arrived at the estate that afternoon, she acted naturally. Good afternoon, Mr. Davenport. How is Leo today? He's fine. Genevieve, can I ask you something? Do you think Maya is doing anything wrong with him? Genevieve feigned surprise. Why do you ask? Oh, just curious. Look, I've always said I think it's important to have qualified professionals involved in his treatment. Why? It's nothing. Forget it. Genevieve went up for her session with Leo, but she kept thinking. Did Ethan suspect something? The next day, 2 people arrived at the estate. A middle-aged man and a younger woman, both dressed in business attire and carrying clipboards. Mr. Davenport, we're from the State Physical Therapy Board. I'm Dr. Carlos, and this is Dr. Anna. They showed their identification. We're here to investigate the complaint about the unlicensed practice of physical therapy. Please, come in. Ethan led them into the living room, but his demeanor was different. He wasn't as passive as one might expect. As a successful businessman, he knew he needed to understand exactly what was happening. Before we begin, I'd like to know more details about this complaint. Dr. Carlos consulted his papers. Someone reported that a household employee is applying physical therapy techniques without being licensed. And who made this complaint? Sir, that's confidential, but we can say it came from a reliable source in the medical field. Ethan frowned. The only person from the medical field who frequented the house was Genevieve. I need you to know that this employee doesn't apply any techniques. She just talks and plays with my son. Dr. Anna wrote everything down. Sir, we're going to hear all sides before drawing any conclusions. May we speak with the employee? Of course, I'll get her. Ethan went down to the kitchen where Maya was preparing lunch. Maya, there are some people here who need to talk to you. With me? About what? It's about your work with Leo. Don't worry, everything will be fine. Maya dried her hands on her apron and went upstairs with Ethan. In the living room, the two investigators were waiting for her. Ms. Maya Garcia. That's me. Has something happened? We need to ask you a few questions about your activities with the child. Maya sat in an armchair, visibly nervous. Ethan remained standing by her side. Ms. Garcia, do you have a degree in physical therapy? I do not. Medicine or any other health-related field? No. Then explain to me. What kind of activities do you do with the child? I talk to him, tell him stories, sing songs. Sometimes we just play. Dr. Anna took notes. And you, sir, allow her to do exercises with the child. Ethan interjected, What exercises? She doesn't do any exercises. Sir, according to the complaint, she is allegedly teaching breathing techniques and performing bodily manipulation. Maya finally understood the gravity of the situation. Wait a minute. Are you accusing me of being a physical therapist? I'm nothing of the sort. Ma'am, take a deep breath. We're going to clarify everything. No, you listen to me. Maya stood up, determined to defend herself. I sing songs with the boy. If that's respiratory technique, then every mother in the world is a physical therapist. And what about the physical manipulation? What manipulation? Sometimes I help him stand up when he asks. Is that a crime? Ethan watched everything, impressed by Maya's courage in defending herself. Doctor, Inna, with all due respect, but what information exactly brought you here? Sir, we received detailed reports about her activities. Reports from whom? The investigators glanced at each other, clearly uncomfortable. We can't disclose the source, but... Just then, Dr. Genevieve Reed appeared in the doorway. Good afternoon. I'm the physical therapist responsible for the child. Dr. Carlos stood up. Dr. Reed, I'm glad you're here. Could you give us your professional opinion on the situation? Ethan realized immediately that the investigators already knew Genevieve. She wasn't an impartial witness. She was the one who filed the complaint. Of course, I can confirm that I have observed interference in the child's treatment. What kind of interference? The employee creates inappropriate expectations in the child, encouraging responses that don't correspond to his actual progress. Maya didn't understand all the terms, but she knew she was being attacked. Excuse me, doctor, but what do you mean by that? For example, you make the child believe he can do things he actually can't. What do you mean? Children with cerebral palsy need realistic goals. When you celebrate his every reaction, you create dangerous illusions. Ethan interjected, Genevieve, but my son's progress is visible. He's talking more, laughing more. Mr. Davenport, that could just be temporary euphoria. It's not real progress. The discussion was getting tense. Maya felt lost amidst so many technical terms. Look, I just want the boy to be happy. I'm not doing anything wrong. Ms. Garcia, the intention may be good, but the result can be harmful. Dr. Carlos made more notes. Dr. Reed, do you recommend any specific measures? I believe it would be best to temporarily suspend the employee's contact with the child until we can better assess the situation. What do you mean, suspend? Maya was startled. It's a preventative measure while we investigate. Ethan stood his ground. Wait a minute. Are you saying she can't talk to my son anymore? Sir, it's temporary. If there's no wrongdoing, she can return to work as usual. Sure. And if I don't agree? Sir, the unlicensed practice of a profession is a crime. It's better to cooperate. Just then, a small voice came from the stairs. Daddy, why are there so many people here? Leo appeared in the room, curious about all the commotion. Leo's presence completely changed the atmosphere in the room. The boy looked at all the serious faces and instinctively moved closer to Maya. Maya, are you okay? Everyone looks angry. Maya knelt down to his level, trying to smile. "I'm fine. There are just some important people here talking with Daddy." Dr. Anna observed the interaction closely. "It's interesting. The child shows a real attachment to the employee." Genevieve interjected quickly. "That's precisely what worries me. Excessive dependency isn't healthy." Leo looked at Genevieve with a confused expression. "Auntie Genevieve, why can't Maya stay with me?" "No one said she can't, Leo. But everyone's talking so seriously. When grown-ups talk seriously, it's because something is wrong." The boy's perception surprised everyone present. Ethan knelt beside his son. "Champ, there's nothing wrong. Just some people who came to meet you. Are they leaving soon?" "Yes, they are. And is Maya still going to tell me stories?" The innocent question created an awkward silence. Everyone looked at Maya, who didn't know what to say. "Doctor." Carlos took the initiative. "Leo, you really like Maya, don't you?" "I do. She's my best friend." "And what do you do together?" "We play. She tells funny stories. She teaches me new songs." "Does she teach you any exercises?" Leo looked confused. "Exercises? What do you mean? Like, does she ask you to breathe in a special way?" "Oh, when we sing, she tells me to take a deep breath so my voice comes out nice." Genevieve was quick to interpret. "See, respiratory technique applied without proper knowledge." Ethan was losing his patience. "Genevieve, for God's sake, she's teaching him how to sing." "Mr. Davenport, you don't understand the technical implications." "Then explain it to me once and for all. What's wrong with teaching a child to sing?" The tension was mounting. Leo realized something was really wrong. "Daddy, why are you angry?" "I'm not angry with you, champ." "But are you angry with Maya?" Ethan looked at Maya, who was clearly distressed. "No, son, I'm not mad at her." Dr. Carlos interrupted. "Mr. Davenport, we need to make a decision. We recommend temporarily suspending the employee's activities with the child. And if I refuse, as we've already said, practicing without a license is a crime." Ethan felt cornered. On one hand, he saw his son's obvious progress. On the other, he didn't want any legal trouble. "How long is this suspension?" "It depends on the investigation. A few weeks." Maya couldn't hold back any longer. "A few weeks, but I haven't done anything wrong. Mom, it's a preventive measure." "Preventive of what? Of me making a child smile?" Leo began to understand that something was separating him from Maya. "I don't want Maya to stop playing with me." "Son, it's just for a little while." "But why?" Ethan didn't know how to explain the absurd bureaucracy that was happening to a 6-year-old. Dr. Reed spoke up. "Leo, Maya will continue to work in the house. She just won't be able to play with you for a few days." "That's not fair." The simplicity of the observation made all the adults uncomfortable. "Sometimes things seem unfair, but they're for our own good. How can it be for my own good to stay away from my friend?" Dr. Reed didn't know how to answer. Leo's logic was irrefutable. The investigators finished their notes. "Mr. Davenport, we will document the situation. The employee must avoid any activity that could be interpreted as therapeutic." "And who's going to decide what's therapeutic?" "Our board, based on technical criteria." When the investigators left, the house fell silent. Leo looked at Maya sadly. "Maya, are you leaving?" "I'm not leaving, Leo. I'm going to keep working here. I just can't play for a few days." "But will you miss me?" "I'll miss you very much." Leo walked over and hugged Maya. She hugged him back, trying not to cry in front of him. "I'll miss you too." Dr. Reed watched everything with poorly concealed satisfaction. "Good. Now I can work with him without any interference." A week had passed since the investigators' visit. The change in Leo's behavior was gradual but noticeable. In the first few days, he still asked for Maya constantly. When he saw her working in the house, he would wave sadly from the window. She would wave back, but she couldn't get close. Ethan noticed his son was eating less at dinner. "Doesn't it taste good, champ?" "It does." "Then why aren't you eating?" "I'm not very hungry." At night, Leo took longer to fall asleep. Ethan could hear him tossing and turning in bed, restless. "Is everything okay in there?" "I'm fine, Dad." But the tone of his voice didn't match his words. On the 5th day, during his physical therapy session, Dr. Reed noticed that Leo was less cooperative. "Leo, shall we do the balance exercise?" "I don't want to." "Why not?" "I don't feel like it." Dr. Reed went downstairs to talk to Ethan. "Mr. Davenport, Leo is a bit down today. I've noticed he's been like this ever since Maya stopped playing with him. It's normal. Children get attached and then miss people, but it passes. How long does it take to pass? Every case is different. But it's important to maintain the therapeutic routine." Ethan wasn't convinced. What he was seeing didn't seem normal. By the end of the first week, Leo had practically stopped speaking spontaneously. He would answer when asked, but he wouldn't start conversations. "Want to watch cartoons?" "Whatever." "Want to play with your new toys?" "No." "What do you want to do?" "Nothing." Martha found Ethan in the kitchen. "Mr. Davenport, can I say something?" "Of course, Martha." "The boy hasn't been the same since Maya stopped playing with him." "I know. Dr. Reed said it's normal." "It's not normal, Mr. Davenport. A sad child isn't normal." "But what can I do? The investigators said she can't have therapeutic contact with him." "And since when is playing therapeutic?" Martha's question made Ethan think something was wrong with this whole story. In the second week, the situation worsened. Leo started having nightmares. "No, I don't want to!" Ethan woke up to his son's screams and ran to his room. "Easy, champ. It's just a dream." "Dad?" "I'm here. What were you dreaming about?" "I forgot." But Leo hadn't forgotten. He was dreaming of fragmented, confusing old memories. Images of when he was smaller, of someone squeezing his arms tightly, of pain. "Dad, can I sleep in your room?" "Of course, son." Ethan carried Leo to his room. The boy snuggled up next to his father but remained restless. "Dad, what is it? Why can't Maya play with me anymore?" Ethan didn't know how to explain. "It's complicated, son. There are some rules adults have to follow." "Those are dumb rules." "Yeah, they are kind of dumb." Leo was quiet for a few minutes. Then he whispered, "Dad." I think Dr. Reed doesn't like Maya." "Why do you think that?" "Because she's happy when Maya is sad." Leo's observation surprised Ethan. Children sometimes notice things that adults miss. "Son, Dr. Reed is a professional. She just wants what's best for you." "But I was happier with Maya." The sincerity in the boy's voice touched Ethan's heart. "I know, champ, I know." By the end of the second week, Leo was visibly more apathetic. He would answer when asked, but he had lost the spontaneity he had developed with Maya. Ethan decided he needed to better understand what was happening. That night, he stayed awake to watch his son while he slept. Around midnight, Leo began to stir restlessly. He murmured disjointed words that Ethan tried to understand. "No. Stop. It hurts. Dr. Reed. Squeezed. Too hard." The words were fragmented, but Ethan managed to grasp that his son was dreaming about Dr. Reed hurting him. So little. Couldn't get away. Said not to tell. Dad gets mad. Ethan's heart raced. His son was remembering Dr. Reed telling him to keep a secret about something. The next morning, Ethan was having coffee when Dr. Reed arrived. "Good morning, Mr. Davenport. How did Leo sleep?" "Dr. Reed, can I ask you something? Have you ever worked with Leo before?" "Before what?" "Before 2 years ago, when you started here." Dr. Reed hesitated for a fraction of a second. "No. Why?" "It's just that he said some strange things in his sleep." "What kind of things?" "He mentioned your name. It sounded like he was remembering you hurting him when he was little." Dr. Reed forced a laugh. Mr. Davenport, children have vivid imaginations, especially when they are in an altered emotional state like he is now. But it was very specific. He said you squeezed hard and told him not to tell. Look, would you like a suggestion? I think Leo needs psychological counseling. This fantasy could be dangerous. The speed with which Dr. Genevieve Reed changed the subject bothered Ethan. Why would it be dangerous? Because he might start confusing reality with imagination, and that could affect his trust in adults. Including you? Including me. Genevieve went upstairs for the session, but she was clearly bothered by the conversation. Ethan was lost in thought. Why was Genevieve so nervous about Leo's words? He decided to look for some information. He remembered that the former housekeeper, Maria, had taken care of Leo when he was little. Maybe she knew something. Ethan looked for Maria's phone number in his old contacts. When he dialed, his heart was racing. Hello? Maria? Mr. Davenport? What a surprise. How's Leo? Maria, I need to talk to you about Leo's past. Did something happen? It's complicated. Can you come over today? Of course, Mr. Davenport. I'll be there late this afternoon. And Maria, do you remember the physical therapist who worked with Leo when he was little? There was a pause on the other end of the line. I do. Why? We'll talk more about it in person. When Ethan hung up, he felt he was close to discovering something important. For the first time in weeks, he had hope of understanding what was really happening to his son. In the afternoon, when Genevieve finished the session, she stopped by Ethan's office. Mr. Davenport, about our conversation today, I think it would be best not to pay too much attention to Leo's dreams. It might confuse him more. Why are you so worried about this? Because I've worked with children for years. I know how fantasy can turn into a real problem. All right, Genevieve. I'll think about it. When Genevieve left, Ethan was sure she was hiding something. The way she avoided the subject, how she deflected the conversation, how nervous she got when he mentioned the past. Something didn't add up, and Maria might have the answers he was looking for. Late afternoon, Ethan was in his office when the phone rang. Hello? Mr. Davenport? It's Maria. How are you? Maria. Wow, what a surprise. I'm fine. And you? I'm doing well, yes. Listen, I saw in the paper that you had some trouble at the house with an employee. Ethan remembered that the news about the State Physical Therapy Board investigation had been in the local paper. Oh, yes, it was a bit of a mess. Can I ask if it has to do with Leo? It does. Why do you ask? There was a pause on the other end of the line. Look, I didn't want to get involved, but ever since I left, something has always bothered me. What's that? About that physical therapist who worked with Leo when he was little. Ethan's heart raced. Can you come over? It's better if we talk in person. I can. I'll be there in a little while. An hour later, Maria arrived at the Davenport estate. Ethan greeted her warmly. She had been like family for years. I've missed you, Maria. How have you been? Good, good. And Leo? How is he? That's exactly what I wanted to talk to you about. They sat in the living room. Maria looked worried. Mr. Davenport, when I saw the news in the paper, I remembered something that has always bothered me. About what? About the day Leo got hurt with that physical therapist. Ethan frowned. What day? Genevieve always told me his paralysis was a complication from birth. Genevieve? Who's Genevieve? The current physical therapist. Oh, no. I'm talking about the other one, the one before. Ethan was confused. Maria, are you sure there was another physical therapist? Of course I am. A young woman, must have been in her early 20s. She worked here when Leo was 3. And what happened? Look, I never told you this because she asked me not to. She said if I told, Leo wouldn't be able to get physical therapy anymore. Maria took a deep breath. But that day, I was passing by the room when I heard the boy screaming loudly. I ran in and saw him crying desperately on the exercise table. And the physical therapist? She was white as a sheet. She said the boy had moved at the wrong time during the exercise. Did you believe her? At the time, yes, but later, thinking about it, Leo was always obedient. He wasn't one to move when told to stay still. Ethan was processing the information. This physical therapist. Do you remember her name? I do. Jenna. Jenna something. I don't quite remember the last name. And what happened to her? After that day, she disappeared. Never came back. Said she was moving out of town. Ethan felt he was on the verge of a major discovery. Maria, can you describe this Jenna? She was a pretty young woman, long dark hair, very thin. She had a little mole right here on her face. Maria pointed near her right eye. Ethan remembered immediately. Genevieve had a mole in the same spot. Maria, by any chance, did you keep anything from back then? Any papers, documents? Well, when I left the house, I took a few things. There were some of Leo's papers that I ended up taking with my stuff. What kind of papers? I don't know. Some prescriptions, medical reports. I was going to throw them out, but then I thought they might be important someday. Do you still have those papers? Yes, I do. They're at my house, in a box. Why are you asking? It's just, they really might be important. Can you bring those papers tomorrow? I can, but did something happen? Ethan hesitated. Maria, I think this Jenna and Genevieve might be the same person. What do you mean? The description you gave of her. It sounds like Genevieve. Maria grew thoughtful. Well, maybe. But Jenna was much younger, much thinner. People change, right? They gain weight, get older. That's true, and if it is the same person, it would explain a lot. The next day, Maria returned to the estate bringing a shoebox. It's all here, Mr. Davenport. I found some papers that might be of interest. Ethan opened the box. There were some prescriptions, a few physical therapy reports, and some old photographs. Look at this. He picked up a prescription. It was from 4 years ago, prescribing calming drops for Leo. But Leo was never a hyper kid. Exactly. He was always very calm. He only got more restless after that accident. Ethan kept sifting through the papers. There were several similar prescriptions, all for sedatives. Maria, look at the amount of medication they were prescribing for him. It really is a lot. And look, there are prescriptions from different doctors. Strange, isn't it? Why so many different doctors? Ethan examined the dates. The prescriptions spanned several months. And what's this? He picked up a physical therapy report. It was signed by the physical therapist, but part of the signature was smudged. R. Reed. I can only make out the R and Reed. Could be Jenna Reed. Or Genevieve Reed. Maria picked up another paper. What about this one, Mr. Davenport? It was another report from the same day, but with different information. How strange. This one says that Leo had an unexpected reaction during the exercise. And what did the other report say? Sudden movement by the child caused displacement during stretching. They continued to examine the papers. There were a few more minor inconsistencies. Maria, don't you find it strange to have two different versions of the same day? I do. It's as if someone changed the story. At the bottom of the box, there were some old photographs of Leo as a little boy. Look at this. One of the photos showed Leo doing exercises with a young physical therapist. The image wasn't very clear, but you could make out the woman's facial features. Is that Jenna? Yes, it is. Look how different she was. Ethan studied the photo carefully. The woman was clearly younger and thinner, but there was something familiar about her features. Maria, look at this little mole on her face. Yes, she did. Genevieve has an identical one in the same spot. Really? Really? And look at the shape of her nose, the way she smiles. They spent a few minutes analyzing the photo. It really could be the same person, Mr. Davenport. I think so, but how can we be sure? I don't know. Maybe by comparing it to a current photo. Ethan had an idea. Maria, can you stay here until Genevieve arrives? That way we can see if she recognizes you. Yes, I can. What time is she coming? In an hour. An hour later, Genevieve arrived for the morning session. When she walked into the room and saw Maria, her expression changed completely. Hi, Genevieve. This is Maria. She used to work here. Genevieve tried to hide it, but she was clearly nervous. Oh, a pleasure. I'm Leo's physical therapist. Maria observed Genevieve carefully. A pleasure. Have you been working here long? For 2 years. And before that? I worked at other clinics. Ethan sensed the tension in the air. Genevieve, Maria brought some of Leo's old papers. We found some interesting things. What kind of things? Ethan showed her the prescriptions for the sedatives. Do you know why they gave Leo so much medication when he was little? Genevieve examined the papers, trying to remain calm. Well, children with cerebral palsy can sometimes be anxious. It's normal. But it was a lot of medication from different doctors. Sometimes parents seek multiple opinions. Maria interjected, Excuse me, doctor, but I took care of the boy back then. He wasn't anxious. Genevieve looked at Maria more closely. You took care of him when? 4 years ago. When he was 3? Oh. Genevieve was visibly uncomfortable. Ethan showed her the photo. And this. Do you recognize this physical therapist? Genevieve looked at the photo and turned pale. No, I don't recognize her. Are you sure? Take a good look. I'm sure. But her voice was trembling. Martha approached Genevieve. Don't you remember me at all? I worked in the house when you treated Leo. I never worked here before 2 years ago. Are you sure? Because I remember you. Genevieve stood up abruptly. Look, I need to start the session with Leo. Excuse me. When Genevieve left the room, Martha looked at Ethan. It's her. I'm sure of it. How do you know? The way she talks, her gestures, and especially her reaction when she saw me. She did get nervous. If she weren't the same person, there'd be no reason to get like that. Ethan agreed. But how do we prove it? I think you need to confront her directly. With what evidence? It's not a crime to change your name. Martha thought for a moment. But it's a crime to lie about professional qualifications, right? What do you mean? If she caused the child's accident and then came back pretending to be someone else? Ethan understood her reasoning. She could have forged documents, lied on her resume. Exactly. And then there's the matter of the medication. What do you mean? Mr. Davenport, I remember that after the accident, the physical therapist kept insisting that the doctors prescribe sedatives for Leo. Why? She said he got very agitated during the sessions. But you said he wasn't agitated. He wasn't. He only got agitated after the accident, and even then, only when he was with her. The pieces were falling into place for Ethan. What do you think she gave him the medication for? To keep him quiet. A sedated child doesn't complain, doesn't tell what happened. That would be a crime, wouldn't it? Definitely, medicating a child without necessity is a crime. Ethan decided he needed more information before confronting Genevieve. Martha, do you know anyone who can confirm her identity? I can try talking to Dr. Patricia. She was Leo's pediatrician back then. Good idea. Can you call her? Yes, I can. The next day, Martha returned with more information. Mr. Davenport, I spoke with Dr. Patricia, and she remembers the physical therapist, Jenna, said she always thought she was a bit too anxious. Anything else? The doctor confirmed that Jenna insisted a lot on the sedative prescriptions. She was always making up that Leo was agitated, even though he was a calm child. Exactly. And the doctor said something interesting. What? She said that Jenna disappeared suddenly, didn't say goodbye to anyone, didn't hand over her cases to another professional. She just vanished, as if she were running from something. That's what the doctor thought too. Ethan was convinced that Genevieve and Jenna were the same person. Now, he had to confront her. When Genevieve arrived for the session, Ethan was waiting for her in his office. "Genevieve, I need to talk to you." "Of course. Did something happen? Can you explain to me why your real name is Jenna?" Genevieve turned pale. "What are you talking about? Martha recognized you, and so did Dr. Patricia." "I don't know any Dr. Patricia." "Of course you do. You worked with her 4 years ago." Genevieve sat down, visibly shaken. "Mr. Davenport, Jenna or Genevieve, or whatever your real name is, you caused my son's injury, didn't you?" Genevieve remained silent. "And then you skipped town so no one would find out." "It wasn't like that." "Then how was it?" It was an accident." "I understand the accident. Accidents happen. But skipping town, changing your name, and coming back pretending to be someone else, that wasn't an accident." Genevieve started to cry. "I was so young. I was afraid of losing my professional license. And the sedatives. Why were you medicating my son unnecessarily? He would get agitated. Lies. Martha and Dr. Patricia confirmed he only got agitated with you." Genevieve couldn't deny it. "Why did you come back?" I needed to be sure." "Sure of what?" "That he wouldn't remember." The confession came out naturally. Genevieve was so nervous she didn't even realize what she had admitted. "You came back to make sure my son wouldn't remember what you did?" "I heard he was getting better. I got scared." "Scared of what?" "That he would remember and tell the truth." Genevieve realized she had said too much. "Mr. Davenport, please. I can explain." "There's no need to explain anything else. You've already confessed." "No, please. My career, my life. What about my son's life? Did you think about his life when you were drugging him for months? It was only to protect him from traumatic memories." "Lies. It was to protect yourself." Ethan was furious, but he kept his composure. "Genevieve, I'm going to give you one chance. You can leave town and never come back. I won't report you." Genevieve's spirits lifted at the possibility. "Really? You'd just let me go?" "I would, but on one condition." "Moo, what is it?" "You're going to sign a detailed confession of what you did, and you're going to return all the money you've been paid working here for the last 2 years. Genevieve hesitated. "And if I don't want to?" "Then I call the police, and you can explain everything to them." After a few minutes of thought, Genevieve agreed. "Okay, I accept." Genevieve spent the entire afternoon writing a detailed confession. Ethan supervised every word. "I, Jenna Santos Reed, currently known as Genevieve Reed, confess that..." She detailed the accident during the physical therapy session, how she had applied excessive pressure to Leo's spine when he was 3 years old. "I also confess that I lied to the doctors about the cause of the injury." She admitted to making up that the child had moved during the exercise. "I confess that I requested prescriptions for calming medications without any real medical need." She explained how she had convinced several doctors to prescribe sedatives for Leo, falsely claiming he was anxious and restless. "I confess that I changed my identity and returned to the city with false documents." She detailed how she changed her name from Jenna to Genevieve and forged documents to get work again. "I confess that I falsely reported the employee Maya Garcia to the State Physical Therapy Board." She admitted to fabricating the accusations against Maya because she was helping Leo improve. When she finished writing, the confession was nearly 10 pages long. "Done. It's all here." Ethan read the entire document. "Are you sure you want to sign this?" "I am. I just want to leave." Genevieve signed the confession with a trembling hand. And the money? I can transfer it tomorrow morning. All right. You have 24 hours to get out of town. And you promise you won't call the police? Ethan hesitated for a moment. I promise. Genevieve gathered her things and left the estate. Ethan was left alone, holding the confession. Martha, who had witnessed everything, approached him. Sir, are you really going to let her just leave? Martha, what I want is peace for my son. If she disappears forever, that's fine with me. And Maya, now I can prove she's innocent. Ethan looked down at the confession. With this, the board will have to drop the investigation against her. And Leo, now I can explain to him why he had those nightmares, and most importantly, I can bring Maya back. The next day, Genevieve transferred the money and left town. Ethan didn't know if she would ever return, but he had the confession as insurance. The most important thing was that now he knew the truth, and he could start to repair the damage that had been done to his son. The first thing he did was call the State Physical Therapy Board. Hello, I have new information regarding the case of employee Maya Garcia. It was time to clear Maya's name and bring her back home. The next morning, Ethan was in his office with Genevieve's confession in his hands. He knew that clearing Maya's name wouldn't be quick or easy. He first called the State Physical Therapy Board. Hello, this is Ethan Davenport. You're investigating an employee of mine, Maya Garcia. Yes, sir. The case is still ongoing. I have new information that could change everything. What kind of information? The physical therapist who filed the complaint has confessed in writing that she lied about everything. There was a long pause on the other end of the line. Sir, this is very serious. We need to review these documents carefully. Can you file a formal petition? Yes, I can. And these documents will need to be notarized. The process could take a few weeks. Ethan sighed. It wasn't going to be as simple as he had imagined. All right, I'll do whatever it takes. He also sought out a lawyer for guidance on Genevieve's case. Counselor, based on this confession, what could happen to her? Mr. Davenport, these are serious crimes. Malicious injury, practicing medicine without a license, identity fraud. Even though she's left town, the justice system will go after her. Can you start the legal proceedings? We can, but be prepared. It's going to be a long process. Meanwhile, Ethan called all the estate staff for a meeting. Everyone, I've discovered something very serious about Genevieve. Martha, the gardener, the cook, the driver, everyone paid close attention. She's not who she said she was. Her real name is Jenna, and she's the one who caused Leo's injury 4 years ago. Murmurs of shock echoed through the room. She came back to make sure he would never remember. And when Maya arrived and he started to get better... Oh my God, whispered Martha. That's why she made up that whole story. Exactly. Now I'm going to do everything I can to clear Maya's name. Is she coming back? The cook asked hopefully. I don't know. First I have to find her. Martha stepped closer. Mr. Davenport, it's going to be hard. After what happened, she must be in hiding. I know, but I have to try. That night, Ethan went to Leo's room. The boy had been listless since Maya had left. Hey, champ, how are you doing? Hi, Dad. Leo, I found out why you were having those bad dreams. What dreams? Remember how you used to talk in your sleep about someone hurting you? A little. It was about Aunt Genevieve. She really did that when you were little. Leo was confused, but not scared. He was too young to fully understand. Why did she do that? It was an accident, but afterward she was afraid to tell the truth. And Maya? Maya never did anything wrong. Daddy made a big mistake with her. Is she coming back? I don't know, son. She's very hurt. Leo looked sad. I want to see her. Daddy's going to try to find her, but it might take a while. How long? I don't know. Sometimes things just take time. It was the most honest answer Ethan could give. 3 weeks passed. The process with the State Physical Therapy Board was moving slowly, but it was moving. The lawyer had filed a criminal complaint against Genevieve, and the police were already looking for her. But finding Maya was proving more difficult than Ethan had imagined. He had gone to her old address, but the neighbors said she had moved without a trace. No one knew where. "She left here very shaken," a neighbor said. "She said she was going to a relative's house, but didn't say where." Ethan hired a private investigator. "Sir, I found a few leads. She has a sister who works as a housekeeper on the south side. Can you get the address? I can try, but it'll take a few days." Leo was becoming more and more withdrawn. He wasn't eating right, barely speaking. "Did Daddy find Maya?" he would ask every night. "Not yet, champ, but I'm not giving up." A week later, the investigator returned with news. "I found her sister, but she won't say anything. Says Maya asked her not to tell anyone where she is." "So now what?" "I'll try another way. Find out where she works, track her movements." "Isn't that a bit invasive?" "It's the only way, sir." "She doesn't want to be found." Ethan felt uneasy. It felt like stalking. "Never mind if she doesn't want to be found. Maybe it's best to respect that." "Are you sure?" "I am." But 2 weeks later, chance intervened. Martha came back from a doctor's appointment with some information. "Mr. Davenport, I think I saw Maya today." "Where?" "At the public hospital. She was mopping the floor in a hallway." "Are you sure it was her?" "I'm positive. But when she saw me, she ran off." "She ran off?" "Yes, didn't even say hello." Ethan understood. Maya wanted no contact with anything that reminded her of the estate. "Martha, do you think if I go there, I think she'll just run away again?" "Then what do I do?" Martha thought for a moment. "Let me try talking to her first. Woman to woman, you know?" "You'd do that?" "Of course. That girl is like a daughter to me." The next day, Martha returned with news. "I managed to talk to her." "And?" "She's still very hurt, Mr. Davenport. Very hurt." "Did she say anything?" "She said she doesn't want to see you. But she asked about Leo." "What did you tell her?" "The truth. That he's sad, not eating right, asks for her every day." "And her?" "She started to cry. You can tell she's suffering too. But she doesn't want to come back." "No," she said, "she's scared." "Scared of what?" "Of trusting again and getting hurt one more time." The answer made perfect sense to Ethan. Ethan decided to write a letter to Maya. Martha offered to deliver it. "Maya, I know you don't want to see me, and I understand, but I need you to know that I found out the whole truth about Genevieve. She confessed everything in writing. The board is already reviewing your case. In a few weeks, you will be officially cleared. Genevieve is being criminally prosecuted. She will never be able to work as a physical therapist again. I know this doesn't erase the humiliation you went through. I know it doesn't undo the pain I caused. I just want you to know that I'm making things right, and that I'm sorry, truly sorry. Leo asks about you every day. He doesn't understand why his favorite friend disappeared. I'm not asking you to come back. I'm just asking for a chance to talk. Just one conversation. Ethan." Martha returned the next day with the answer. "Did she read the letter?" "Yes, she did. And she cried a lot, but she said she doesn't want to talk." "She really doesn't?" "No, she said she doesn't trust you anymore. That she's afraid to believe again." Ethan felt his heart ache. "Did she say anything else?" "She said she wants to know how Leo is, but she can't see him." "Why can't she?" "Because she said if she sees him, she won't be able to resist, and she doesn't want to get hurt again." "I understand." "Mr. Davenport." "What is it, Martha?" "I think you're going to have to give her time. A lot of time." "How much time?" "I don't know, but the wound is very deep." 2 months passed. The State Physical Therapy Board finally cleared Maya officially. Dr. Reed was found by the police in another state and arrested. The case made the local news. But Maya continued to avoid all contact. Leo was visibly depressed. He had stopped asking about Maya, which worried Ethan even more. "Champ, you don't want to know about Maya anymore? She doesn't want to see me." "Who told you that?" "Nobody has to. If she wanted to, she would have come by now." The child's simple logic made Ethan realize just how bad the situation was. "Leo, sometimes grown-ups are afraid." "Of what?" "Of getting hurt. But I'm not going to hurt her." "I know, son, but I'm the one who hurt her." Leo was quiet for a while. "Dad, can you try again?" "Try what?" "To talk to her, to say you're sorry again." "She doesn't want to see me." "But you can try. My teacher said that when we do something wrong, we have to keep saying we're sorry." "She did?" "Yeah, until the person believes we're telling the truth." His son's innocent wisdom gave Ethan an idea. Ethan decided to try a different approach. Instead of pursuing Maya, he would demonstrate change through his actions. He started by making donations to the hospital where she worked. Not large sums that could look like a bribe, but equipment that would make the cleaning staff's job easier. He also created a scholarship in her name at the local technical school for low-income individuals who wanted to study special needs childcare. He didn't put his own name on anything. He wanted her to know it was from him, but without any pressure. Martha continued to visit Maya sporadically. "She asked about the donations," she reported after one of her visits. "What did you say?" "The truth, that you're trying to show you've changed." "And her?" "She didn't say anything. But I saw it made her think." 3 months later, Ethan had an idea that Leo loved. "Champ, how about we make a video for Maya?" "A video?" "Yeah, you can tell her how you're doing, what you've been up to." "Will she watch it?" "I'll ask Martha to show it to her." Leo was excited for the first time in months. "Can I say I miss her?" "Yes, you can." "And that I want to play with her?" "You can." They made a simple video, Leo sitting on his bed speaking naturally. "Hi, Maya. It's me, Leo. I miss you a lot. My dad said you're working at a new hospital. I hope you like it there. I'm doing okay. I'm going to a new school. There are other boys like me there, but none of them tell stories like you do. Maya, can you come back to visit me? Just once? I promise I'll eat all my dinner if you come." The video was sweet and genuine. Ethan sent it via Martha. The response came a week later. "She watched the video about 10 times, Martha reported. "And?" "She cried a lot. Said she almost came running over here." "Almost?" "Yeah, but she managed to control herself. And now she wants to send a video in response." Ethan felt a glimmer of hope. Maya's video arrived 2 days later. She was visibly emotional. "Hi, Leo. I miss you so much, my love. You're so big and speaking so well. I'm doing well, working a lot. I like the hospital. It's nice to take care of people. I miss you a lot too, every day. But sometimes grown-ups need time to heal, you know? It's not that I don't want to see you, it's that I'm afraid of being sad again. Eat well, okay? And study hard. You're very smart. A big kiss from Maya, who loves you very much." Leo watched the video about 20 times. "Dad, she said she loves me." "Yes, she did." "Then why doesn't she come back?" "Because she's still hurt, champ." "Hurt how? Is she sick?" "No, son. Her heart is hurt." "And does it take a long time to heal?" "Sometimes it does." "More than a year?" "It can be." Leo was saddened by the answer, but he seemed to understand. "So we have to wait for her to get better?" "That's right." "Okay, but can we send more videos?" "Yes, we can." The videos became a monthly routine. Leo would share news from school, show drawings he made, and talk about his progress in physical therapy. Maya always replied, telling him about her work, asking about his studies, and sending kisses. Little by little, their communication evolved. After 6 months of exchanging videos, Maya agreed to a phone call. "Hello? Maya? Hi, Leo. It's so good to hear your voice. Yours too. Do you miss me? So much." Can you come see me, just for a little while? There was a long pause. I don't know if I can yet. Why not? Because I'm scared, my love. Scared of what? I won't hurt you. I know you won't, but Dad might hurt me. My dad has changed. He doesn't yell anymore. He doesn't get angry. He's been really sad. Sad about what? Because of you. He cries sometimes when he thinks I'm not looking. The information surprised Maya. He cries. He does, and he says he was really mean to you. Leo, can you get your dad? Ethan's heart raced as he took the phone. Hello? Hi. Maya, thank you for talking to me. It's for Leo. I know. They were silent for a few seconds. Ethan? Yes? Is it true that you cry? The question caught him off guard. It's true. Why? Because I miss you so much, and Leo too. But you two are together. Leo isn't the same without you, and I discovered I cared about you much more than I realized. What do you mean? Maya, in these 8 months without you, I understood something. It wasn't just Leo who needed you. I needed you, too. Needed me for what? To be a better person. To learn what real love is. Maya was quiet. Are you still there? I'm here. Can I say one more thing? You can. I know I have no right to ask this, but will you have coffee with me? In a public place whenever you want? What for? So I can apologize properly, looking you in the eyes. I don't know. At least think about it. You don't have to decide now. Okay, I'll think about it. A week later, surprisingly, Maya accepted. They met at a simple diner downtown. When Ethan saw her, he was startled. She was thinner, with dark circles under her eyes. She had clearly suffered a great deal. Hi. Hi. They sat at a table in the back. Thank you for coming. Leo convinced me. How did he do that? He said if I didn't come, he'd go on a hunger strike. Ethan gave a nervous laugh. He wouldn't do that. Yes, he would. He said he went 2 days without eating after I left. That's true. They ordered coffee and sat in silence for a few minutes. Maya, what is it? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I know. No, you don't. You don't know how much I hate myself for doubting you. Ethan, let me finish, please. She nodded. All these months, I've thought about everything that happened, and I realized it wasn't just a mistake, it was cowardice. What do you mean? When the investigators showed up, I got scared. Scared of a lawsuit, of a scandal, of losing Leo. And so I chose the easy way out. To believe them and put the blame on you. Maya listened in silence, but the truth is, deep down, I knew you would never hurt my son. I knew it because I saw how you took care of him. Then why didn't you defend me? Because I'm a coward. Because it's easier to blame the person with less power. Ethan's brutal honesty surprised Maya. And I know I have no right to ask for forgiveness. I know I don't deserve it. No, you don't. I know, but I'm asking anyway. Because I've learned to be better. How so? I started going to therapy to understand why I acted that way. Therapy? Yeah, twice a week. I'm learning about my flaws, my fears. And what have you discovered? That I have a hard time trusting people. That I always look for faults in others so I don't have to look at my own. Maya was impressed by his self-criticism. And I also discovered that when I'm scared, I become a horrible person. That's true. You were horrible to me. I was. And I never want to be like that again. They finished their coffee, talking about other things. No promises or declarations. Just two people trying to reconnect. When they said goodbye, Maya said, "Thank you for being honest. Thank you for giving me this chance. Can we try this again? This coffee? Yeah, I'd love that. Okay, next week. Next week." The coffees became weekly meetings. Nothing romantic, just two people learning to trust again. After 2 months, Maya agreed to visit Leo. Maya, hi, my love. The reunion was emotional, but Maya kept a certain distance. She only stayed for an hour, played a little with Leo, and talked with Martha. Are you coming back soon? Leo asked as she was leaving. I will, but slowly, okay? Why? Because we need to be sure everything's going to be okay. The visits became bi-weekly, then weekly. Maya was slowly regaining her trust. Ethan respected her pace. He didn't push, didn't force romantic situations. He simply showed through his actions that he had changed. A year and a half after their first meeting, something special finally happened. Leo was showing Maya how he could stand on his own for almost a minute when he lost his balance. Instinctively, Ethan and Maya rushed at the same time to catch the boy. Their hands met as they held Leo. For a few seconds, they looked into each other's eyes. Something was different. No more distrust. No more fear. Thank you, Maya whispered. For what? For being patient with me. Thank you for giving me a second chance. That night, for the first time in almost 2 years, they had dinner together. The three of them, like a family. Are you guys going to be boyfriend and girlfriend now? Leo asked with childlike curiosity. Leo, Maya laughed. It's just that you were looking at each other like goofballs earlier. Were we looking at each other? Ethan asked. Yeah, you were. And you were smiling like idiots. Leo, don't talk like that, Maya scolded, but she was laughing. But it's true, you like each other. And what if we do? Ethan asked. Then you can be boyfriend and girlfriend. I'll allow it. You'll allow it, Maya laughed. I will, but only if you promise not to fight anymore. We promise, Ethan said, looking at Maya. I promise, she agreed. 2 years later, they married in an intimate ceremony. Leo was the ring-bearer, walking slowly but steadily down the aisle on his own. But the road wasn't without its obstacles. Maya still had bouts of insecurity. Sometimes she'd wake up in the middle of the night, worried that Ethan would change his mind. Ethan also fought his own demons. There were days when anxiety made him question everything and everyone, but they had learned to talk about their fears. Couples therapy helped a lot. I had that nightmare again today, Maya would say. The one where you were at the house and I told you to leave. That's the one. What do you need me to do? Just hold me and remind me that's not going to happen. And Ethan would do just that, as many times as it took. Likewise, when he had anxiety attacks, Maya was there. I feel like you're going to leave me, he'd say on his bad days. Why would I do that? Because you deserve someone better. Ethan, look at me. I chose you. Every day, I choose you. Leo grew up watching his parents work on their relationship, learning that true love isn't just a feeling, it's a daily decision. 3 years after the wedding, Genevieve was finally tried and convicted. She permanently lost her professional license and was sentenced to 2 years in prison. Are you going to the trial? The lawyer asked. No, Ethan replied. We've already turned that page. And what do you two think? He later asked Maya and Leo. I think she's been punished enough, Maya said. She lost her career, her reputation, her freedom. I don't want to carry that anger anymore. And you, Leo? I don't remember her much, but I hope she's learned not to hurt any more kids. The 9-year-old boy's wisdom impressed everyone. Today, 5 years after Ethan and Maya first met, they are a real family. Not perfect, but real. Leo attends a regular inclusive school and excels in his studies. His mobility has improved considerably. He can walk short distances with the help of a cane. Maya officially graduated as a physical therapy assistant and works at a pediatric rehabilitation center. Ethan reduced his workload to spend more time with his family. They still face challenges. The class difference sometimes creates tension. It took Ethan's family years to fully accept Maya. Her family sometimes feels intimidated by his money. But they learned that true love isn't the absence of problems. It's facing those problems together. "You know what I learned?" Leo said one night at dinner. "What's that, sweetie?" Maya asked. "That family isn't just who you're born with. It's who you choose to be with." "Where did you learn that?" Ethan asked. "From watching you two. You chose to stay together even when it was hard." And there, at that simple table, with a home-cooked meal and everyday conversation, was the proof that second chances can work out. As long as they're built with patience, honesty, and a lot of hard work. Did you like this story? Do you think Genevieve got what she deserved? Do you think Maya was right to give Ethan a second chance? Let me know in the comments. Until the next story,